Hi everyone, we're here at the Dream It, Launch It, Live It conference in New York City, and with me I have Elizabeth Lesser, who just spoke with us, and I have her backstage. So thank you, Elizabeth, for coming to talk to Ladies Who Launch. It's been amazing. For those of us who couldn't make it, or maybe who want to refresh on the amazing experience we just had, I'd love you to share a little bit about the Phoenix process and what that is and how that applies to women entrepreneurs.
I came up with this phrase, the Phoenix process, because, this story of our difficult times being the very things that help us change. It's a very old story. It's in every teaching tradition, whether it's Jesus on the cross or Jonah in the whale. And the oldest story is the phoenix bird. The bird who senses a change is coming. It's from the Egyptian tradition. He senses a change is coming, and instead of fighting it, the way we all know change is coming and we don't want it, and we fight it and we struggle and we swim as hard as we can.
Feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. And so we use all of our energy swimming against the stream because life is about change. The phoenix bird instead said to the change, "What have you come to teach me?" And the change said, "You're not going to know until you let the old ways die." So he built a fire and he actually burned himself to death. Metaphorically, of course. We don't people go out burning themselves to death. Metaphorically, you gotta let the old you die before the new one is reborn. And that takes a lot of faith when things get hard to surrender.
So it's surrendering to the loss for the possibility of newer and greater.
Yeah, and surrender sounds like it's a difficult word for some people to accept. All it means is it's the opposite of struggling against change. Some changes but let's take an easy one, for example, aging. We all are going to age. We spend an inordinate amount of energy fighting aging when we could use that same energy to gracefully accept it. And then, hey, all that leftover energy to live your life. Sometimes it's something like an illness or divorce or a business going through a really hard time. Sizing up, this change has to happen. And you know what? A lot of the change has to be me changing to meet the situation. And asking the hard time, whether it's a struggle in a relationship, do I need to fire this person? Do I need to change a product? Like, what have you come to teach me about myself, my relationship, my business, listening, going within, not fighting the hard times, not trying to pretend everything's okay, and then having the faith that you will learn exactly what you need in this moment in life. So you can get on with living a bigger, bolder, less fear-based life.
What you kind of wish you were in, and asking it, what do you have to teach me? What can I learn? Instead of being like, why are you here? And I wish you'd just go away, and oh, poor me.
And also we spend so much time hiding and trying to pretend it's okay. Another big energy sucker.
Yep.
Instead of going, I'm just a bozo like everybody else, and I'm going to own it, and I'm going to demonstrate a genuine acceptance of life for all the people around me.
And we talked about this, and I think it's so important, especially for women, to be okay with admitting, I just had a tough day today. No, not everything is going great. Because we're always, like you said, everyone's, how are you doing? Oh, I'm great. How are you doing? Great. But meanwhile, we're scared, or we're worried. Are we really going to make it? Or is it really going to happen? Or things just don't feel so certain. So there's a process and a growth possible for both people if one of them just comes clean.
That's right. And you don't have to hang your dirty laundry on the line for everyone to see all the time. I'm not talking about becoming like life as a process session all the time. But just kind of observing how often you're hiding out and how often you're just being your genuine self. There's freedom and there's magic actually happens when we all put down the burden of perfection and just show up as a regular old person.
Tell us about, and I love this topic, especially with you, and at the Omega you have a Women in Power conference, and now you're creating a whole women's institute and what you think this next generation is up to and is responsible for in a way.
That's a great way to say it. What's the next generation responsible for? Because we're all responsible to this world. I happen to believe that. And I'm excited for young women not only to claim their power in the business world, which I think is fantastic, but to use it for something good. It's not enough for us just to get in there so we can get ahead, make money. If women even have an inkling of thinking, you know what, women have an opportunity now to do power differently, not to make power be about power over other people, power just for the sake of my ego aggrandizement, power for money, power for domination. This is the legacy of the way power has been done for millennia. We can change that, and big change agents in it are going to be women. Men too. We've got to do it together. We can't do it alone. But women have an instinct honed over millennia from our roles as mothers and healers and bridge builders. This is what the world needs, young women now. Once we get in the power door, to ask the question, what for? What am I going to use my power for? Yes, to take care of my family, to take care of myself, to get ahead, to get stable, but what else? What kind of leader am I going to be?
And we all have the ability in our own way.
And it doesn't have to look like running for elected office at all. It can look like, you know what? I'm going to shorten the work day by an hour so everyone can meet their kids at the bus. And then let people pick up that extra hour after they get home. Or I'm going to make it easier for my employees to tell me the truth. I'm going to be a more transparent leader and make it safe for them to express their needs without me losing ground as a leader. The smallest things is what I'm talking about, not big, huge, let's change the whole system. Change your system in a small way.
Your circle of influence, just looking, where is your life and starting there?
That's right.
Yeah, thank you. And as a kind of closing comment, how has this been for you, coming from the Omega, and you speak so often and you put on your own conferences? Can you just reflect on Ladies Who Launch and just the vibe you've gotten from being here in these 2 hours?
You know what I love about it? I love how many young women are in the room, because if just the same generation, and at Omega we're beginning to see younger people, but certainly not what I looked at in this audience, so many young women. It's important that young women learn the lessons of this conference, what's been going on these past 2 days, which is take care of yourself and take care of our world, and use business as a launch for those 2 noble endeavors. So I think it's really exciting, the audience. I got to speak today too.
I personally read The Broken Open, which is Elizabeth Lesser's book, and it transformed me, and I highly encourage you, if you're seeking for some guidance through tough times and searching for answers on how to navigate uncertain, messy, confusing, uncomfortable times. It really changed my life, so I encourage you to read Broken Open by Elizabeth Lesser. Thank you.